Hello fashion family, it's me here again, your full package fashion teacher. In the previous video I was showing you how I created this beautiful 3D fabric flower, and in this video I'll be showing you the concluding part where I made this beaded wire work. So this bead is a luxury crystal bead, then the pearl bead, okay, the crystal, the cloth stones, and then the smaller crystal beads are the things I'll be working with here, and then the copper wire most importantly. Now you need to draw out your copper wire, roll it out, and you need a very long length of it, okay. To make the work easy for me, I just made use of about 25 inches first, though later on I add a couple more of it because that 25 inches wasn't long enough, okay. So I just measured it. You can use up to 30 inches for a start if you can control that, but when it's too long, it start becoming stressful for you to work with, so I rather work with that length. And now to start with, you divide your copper wire into two like this, and then take one of the beads. You can take whichever one you desire to have first. So there is no rule guiding this tutorial, no rule guiding this process of making this beaded wire work. So the first one you insert, you go ahead to twist it like this. Now the longer you twist it, the longer distance it has to the next one, or from the next one, yeah. So after twisting it, okay, I gave it a little bit of distance, then I inserted another bead, then give it a little bit of space like this before twisting it again. Please, you can play that back and watch it again for you to understand it better. Now after getting that second twist, I twisted the both of them together for me to have another space before moving on to the next. If this video is too fast for you, please make sure you have maybe 0.75 or 0.5 playback speed. Now the next one I want to make use of is the crystal. Okay, there is this there are about maybe 4 holes at the base of the cloth stones, okay. Then you insert your copper wire into it. I gave it a little bit of space, okay, then bent it and then twisted it. Now when you are working with cloth stone, there is possibility of the crystals to be falling off from it. Do not worry, just make sure that when you are twisting it, you do not press the edges that is holding the crystal inside, so that you can bring it back later on when you are done. So twist it. After twisting it, okay, to meet the previous branches, and now twisted the 3 of them together, okay. See that here. So I went ahead to twist the 3 of them together to have another space. So you can create as much branches as you want, and you can decide to make it linear. Later on in this video, I showed you how I did the the linear method. I think the linear method will be easier for you as a beginner, but this was what I started with. So I continued creating more branches. Here I used the cloth stone, okay, and then I gave it some space. You can measure it out depending on how long you want it to be, but then I wanted my own to be on the same level with the rest, okay. So then I went ahead to twist it. You keep on twisting, and when you get to the base of the previous one, you twist all of them together. So you can see what I have there. So here I was saying that you can decide to have it have another branch outside and then create more branches to that one. You just have to be creative. There is no rule that guide how this thing has to be. There is no rule that guides the number of beads you should use. There is no rule that guide the type of bead or the color of bead you should work with. Just have to be creative. So here I want to do something unusual, and if you're doing this and I'm doing, make sure you're using a bigger bead. You can see what I did here. I combined the 2 lines of the copper wire together to create a divider there. So if you don't want the line of the copper wire to be visible, you can be using bead to do the dividing, okay. but then at some point you definitely have to still twist, and then only the copper wire will be visible. So here I made use of my pearl bead, okay, and I gave it some distance away from the initial bead because I wanted two branches there. So from the pearl bead I just twisted a little bit distance, and then I inserted my crystal bead as well, okay. So if you want so many branches clustered together, you'll be creating just smaller spaces, okay. So when it got to the base of the previous one, I twisted them together again, then brought out another branch from there. That's before I got back to the previous crystal bead, that big one in the middle. So I'm creating like 3 branches there before I go back to the initial one. So, and here I use the bigger crystal bead because I want it to be at the top as well. And you can see that I'm already exhausting the copper wire. So when you are twisting your bead, ensure that you twist it perfectly well, so that there is no space between the bead and then the copper wire. You want everything to come out very firmly. So after that, I twisted the 3 new branches together before I now twist the whole of the 3 together with the initial one. You can see that right here. Yes, so here is when I twisted the 3 of them together. Then I twisted the remaining copper wire. Okay, you can see that the remaining one is about to be exhausted, so I went ahead to twist it. After that, I added another copper wire. Now you can decide to have more than 2 lines of copper wire, so it doesn't just have to be 1 or 2. It depends on how many branches you want to have, okay. If you want more branches, you can have as much as 3, 4 or 5, depending on how much volume you want to give your wire work, okay. So now my copper wire is becoming 3, and I'm going to be making use of the 3 of them. So I added another crystal bead here, twisted it, and then twisted it with the rest. I am not fast forwarding this video because I want you to see every detail of when I was using just 1 copper wire, when I was using 2, and now that I'm using 3. I want you to see how I controlled the 3 copper wires, okay. So make sure you watch everything. So here I made use of my pearl bead again, okay, twisted it to firmness, and then I think the last copper wire was getting exhausted already. Then I used the crystal to finish it up. Now take a look at what I did here. Look at how I positioned the crystal. I did it just like I did for the crystal bead earlier, the bigger one, but I didn't use exact method because the space of the whole of the cloth stone is smaller than that bead. So I only inserted 1 of the copper wire, that's the one that was getting exhausted, and I twisted it around the remaining one. So you can see, just have to use your creativity, and then as you're doing it, you even know what next to do, okay. So I'm using another cloth stone here. The cloth stone gives a little bit of stress than the rest because of the way the hole is, but then it is more beautiful because it's shinier than the rest of them. So, and then you also face the stress of the crystal on it falling off and all of that. So you just have to fix it after you are done, okay. This one really gave me a lot of stress that I had to just drop it and use another shape. And yeah, I was able to do that. I continued, and like that, and like that. So I'm going to fast forward it because it's the same process I used in completing everything, okay. Be as creative as you can be. And at the end of the day, I created different pieces of this, okay, because the more volume it has, the more beauty it is, the more beautiful it is. So I inserted it inside my ready-made flower. You can see that it's looking beautiful already, but the more of it you have in it, the more beautiful it is. You can even stitch your bead to your flower. Just be creative and look at what we have. So for some people, the method of creating this might be a little bit complicated, and I went ahead to show you the linear method process. Okay, the linear method is quite easy to understand. If you don't want to do the one with so many branches, you can create many of the linear type and then combine all of them together. Okay, so you don't have to do the one with branches, but then I prefer the one with branches because it's actually more beautiful. Then you can see that I used 2 of the crystal beads here. I told you earlier that you don't have to use just one, and there is no rule when creating this thing. Just do it as you wish. Just try out new stuff, new style, and see what it looks like. If you don't like it, undo it and redo it. So it's just as simple as that. Then I use the bigger crystal bead. So once you've created the first few branches at the top, okay, you only need the first few branches at the top for this linear one, maybe like 2 or 3. Then you now start doing for the 2 sides alone. You create a little bit of space, okay, pick your bead up and then twist it for one side, no branch. Once you twist it, twist all of them together and then go to the other side. It's as simple as that. You can see, give it a little bit of space and then go to the other side. Alternate the beads to have, you know, more beautiful look. And you can also choose to use just one bead type. It doesn't have to be different type of bead. Even common pearl alone would bring out the beauty. Another thing you can do is, if you want to use just one bead type, you can create a divider. Create a division rather, by making use of the beads and, you know, putting it in the middle just like I did. You can decide to design this. Okay, just put it on a dress like this, or you can, let's put it inside our flower to give it a nicer look. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this beauty. Take a look at that. This is beautiful. So beautiful. I love it. So as it is now, you can decide to just roll it inside. You can see. See the beauty that we have. See this beauty now. See this beauty. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's so beautiful. So that is it for our flower creation. So we can put this on a dress now and everything will just be looking va-va-voom. So this is what we are making it. You like it? I love it. I love it. So you can just roll this around, you know, together now and then put it on the dress.